Yeah, this is part 65 of Cry for Help. It's June 7th, 2012.
Okay, I have to make a parallel to all of this, okay? And what we just told you about the insulin scam and the medical scam, it's just 1/10 of 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 scams and illicit activities we went through that are so torturous. We actually have about 15 doctors in New York. We left New York, and we have about, I'll say at least another 15 doctors in Vermont
Yeah.
that continued the illicit activities. They were all a little different, but they're all the same. You know, everybody does a little different. It's basically confiscating your prescriptions, not treating you right, trying to get you into a mental institution, not even listening to your medical concerns. Okay, and you know, we can't say it all now. Okay, but we have documents, and we will say more. But we want to relate this now, this insulin scam and counterfeit insulins that the cult does. They deliver to the stores with the police. With what's going on also at the present time with the computers
Yeah.
and the 4Gs and 3Gs, which is directly related to the insulin scam.
It's
Because
so similar.
this is a very large cult. There are armies of people. We see them. We live with them. Okay? And they have all kinds of divisions and all kinds of people working for them. And they're noted for dealing with the black market and having a place where they produce replicas of the real thing. They put it in the same package. They are experts in professional scamming.
The professional scam
And
artist.
that's why it's so alarming with my insulin,
Yeah.
because it looks like it's the right package. But some packages do look a little different. But basically, you know, it's very alarming because you're dealing with a very professional, sophisticated cult. Okay, that it's like they know all the ins and outs, like in Nazi Germany. Okay, because Adolf Hitler had his cult of Nazis. They're the same thing. They have all the, you know, devices and things to ruin people. Okay, and to make it look like it's the real thing, but it's not. So anyway, Walmart in Long Island, New York. Which town, Joe? Both in Levittown.
One in Levittown.
And the other one is in Carl Place.
In Westbury, yeah.
Yes, in Westbury.
Yeah.
And there's other Walmarts, even in Connecticut. Okay? We have discovered that the cult, like they deliver the insulins, counterfeit insulins, the cult is delivering. It's an inside job.
Right.
And even the salesman, Greg, at Best Buy in Brooklyn, admitted, okay, when I showed him what I needed to show him. However, once he speaks to someone else, we expect his story to change because that someone else in the store wasn't there at the time. But we have to tell you what happened yesterday, okay? We're trying to get a legitimate computer, like legitimate insulin, so we could communicate with the world, which we desperately need. We can communicate with the media and everybody else that we desperately need to communicate with, so we could be eradicated from this lethal corruption. So we try to search for a legitimate computer and a legitimate 4G and 3G. Okay, please, Joe. So we thought, let's go to Brooklyn. The cult knows all about it, because before we went to Brooklyn, we went to, and I'm going to mention it, Joe, because the cult was there. No, it's no secret.
No, well, all right.
It's no secret they were there.
Right.
Because we don't have a phone service or computer, we went to a particular hotel. I won't mention the name, but the cult was there.
Well, just mention
We went to a particular hotel that is very nice to us, okay? And they let us use the phone there and the computers because we told the terrible predicament we're in. However, the last time we went there, we saw the cult there. They went in the back office and they were bribing the people in the back office of the hotel. And then when we went out, we saw the cult in the stores I mean, the Colts in the parking lot.
Parking lot, yes.
And I took pictures of them. Although it was dangerous, I had to take pictures with the one license plate and the Colt men sitting in the car and just sitting there.
Right.
Okay? It's alarming. Now, right near this hotel, we discovered there's a Microsoft building, a tremendous Microsoft building.
I forgot about that part.
Yeah.
You're right.
And we figured, let's try to show the computer crimes to Microsoft because they're responsible for their computers.
Right.
So I said to Joe, since the Colt is nearby in the hotel, it's not going to work. At Microsoft, they're going to bribe them.
Right.
And sure enough, that's what happened. We went there. It was alarming. Okay, first we see the Colt cars in the Microsoft parking lot. We see Connecticut cars with one license plate. Okay, and other interstate cars. Then, what usually happens when this corruption is exploding is that certain officials stand outside the building wherever we go. Just like in stores, the managers stand outside and they practically bar us from entering the stores. Because it's getting to the point where we're barred from using stores now. Okay, we're barred from using pharmacies.
Right.
We're barred from using hospitals. We're barred from using medical offices. Okay, we're barred from using Bernie Sanders' office because Gretchen Bailey barred us from coming there. She said, don't you know?
Senator Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, don't you? And Senator Bernie Sanders wanted to help us. She says to us, don't you know, Susan and Joe? You don't belong here. Speak to the Rutland City Police. They will tell you. You believe this?
Unbelievable.
Anyway, we're barred from there. We're barred all over. We're barred from going to the UFT, which has my pension. It's
any place where we can seek help.
We're barred.
To eradicate this tremendous.
And if we go there, the next step is
situation.
We're going to call the police because we cannot make any complaints. We have to stay in this Nazi regime.
We have to behave like good little children.
Yes. Okay.
And just take the abuse.
And until you die.
This is so sick. I didn't get sick even.
I know. It's
saying
like
this.
It's from a horror film. This doesn't happen. Anyway, to make a long story short, we go to the Microsoft building, so we see the officials outside. Okay? Some of them were probably cult members. Then we go in, and we go to the third floor where Microsoft is.
Oh, no, before you go in, you alert them that you would, because you have to go somewhere.
No,
right? We went to the
an
office downstairs.
So, when we went to the third floor, there's a sign there. It started already. I'm not here at the moment, but, ring my bell or whatever, and I will come. I'm downstairs someplace.
I'll come up.
Yeah, it's a receptionist. So I said, Joe, here it goes. So we did what it said. Okay.
And we waited.
We waited. About a minute later, someone calls, and she says, who are you? I said, well, who are you? She says...
No, she doesn't come up from upstairs.
No, I know, but I didn't do that yet. So anyway, she wouldn't really tell me who she was, but I had to tell her who I was. A second later, she comes from the back office. She was never downstairs. It was all staged. And I said to her, because I'm so sick and tired of this, I said, we are Susan and Joseph Tropeano. You probably know about us. And you probably won't help us because there's signs already that there's a cult here and they have bribed you. So she goes, I don't know what you're talking about. And she runs away.
I mean, just like that.
Just like that, back door.
I mean, anybody legitimate, okay, that would hear this person that just walked into their office and, and explaining a problem.
Okay, Joe, I'm going to finish. Yes.
I mean, would not even respond that way.
Exactly, but we're so used to it.
Yeah, right. So
we're so abused and mocked and bullied. So then somebody else walks in the office, and he said he worked there. So I said, could you please help us? I said, we have a hacked computer. We want Microsoft to look at it. So he says, we don't do that here. So I said, are you Microsoft? He says, yes. I said, so what do you do? We do emails. I said, what do you mean you do emails? He says, we do emails. So I said, well, could you please look at my computer because the cult froze my email? No, I cannot do that. So we both said, it's very obvious what's going on here. The cult filtrated into your office as well.
And he gives gives us a smirk, and then,
Yeah,
and then somebody else comes in at the same time.
Yes, somebody else came in
To
also.
hear what's going on.
This is what always happens. Whenever we expose the corruption, we get a crowd of people.
Yeah, what's
But
going on?
But nobody will help us.
And then they're looking at each other.
And they're smirking at each other.
And they're really smirking. It's like they're like saying, like making like all these two crazy people here.
Yeah, but you could also see that they were bribed because they have this crazy smirk, like they inherited money.
Yeah.
They're like on a high.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Anyway, there's a lot of noise. I guess we're hitting a nerve because this is part of the cyber crimes, which I want the person to hear. We get noise on our webcam, which is coming from the downstairs wire that's connected to someone else's apartment.
Right.
Anyway, to make a long story short, Walmart and Best Buy have a myriad of counterfeit computers being sold in their stores.
Mm-hmm.
And the salesman at Best Buy and the sales lady agreed, according to evidence, and the illicit activities of the cult that came in there. Now, while we were at Best Buy in Brooklyn, it was very scary because this cult was constantly watching us and looking at all the computers. And they were actually looking at certain parts of the computer which shows as counterfeit, which I know is counterfeit as well.
Right.
Okay? And then this store, okay, they were nice in there yesterday. Today when we go back another time, we expect it not to be nice. Because, it'll be a miracle if they're nice because
unfortunately
the lethal coke goes there when the manager is there. And the manager wasn't there today. Anyway, the salesman, Greg, at Best Buy in Brooklyn, and another lady who works there, Samantha.
Both very nice.
Both very nice, and they said, yes, these are counterfeit computers, and this is really, Greg admitted that it's probably an inside job with the shipper, okay? And Greg tried his best to get us a computer that wasn't touched. However, all the computers that we saw were counterfeit. Now, when Greg tried to get us a computer from a different area that the cult was not aware of, who was in there, this cult member, a bald-headed young guy, looks like a devil, runs with us to look at the computer with us.
It was like, I think, European or something.
I don't know what he was.
Yeah.
So, and it doesn't really matter.
No, I'm just saying. He's describing the person.
Yeah. So anyway, I literally had to block him. I said, oh no, you're not going anywhere near the computer that we may buy. He wanted, because they want to know everything about you. What computer you have.
Right next to Susan.
So they can hack it right away.
He moved right next to Susan, just like he just popped, just like that, like a jack in a box.
Right, exactly. So
there he was.
The entire story, it's alarming, and we have evidence to show the right authority that definitely Best Buy and Walmart have a load of counterfeit computers that were shipped to those stores, because if we were to buy one of those computers, which we did buy in the past and we had to return it because it was counterfeit, okay, and we can't get into all the details, but we can give it to the right person, okay, and I don't want to say everything on the video, okay. The what was I saying, Joe?
The counterfeit, what we saw that was counterfeit was determined.
Yes, it's amazing, okay, that these stores are selling counterfeit computers. And, the counterfeit computers are not bad computers. They do work. However, the one that we would buy, the cult has a listing of. And they would, go search which one we bought, and they'll know the IP number and this and that, so they can go and hack our computer again. Okay, this is a huge scandal. It's scary. It's related to my insulins.
Oh, yeah.
They do the same thing to the computers and the 4Gs, which are counterfeit also. And Walmart is carrying counterfeit 4Gs. And then I bought a card for the 4G, and they will not allow me to return the card, although I got a counterfeit 4G. Okay? And then at Walmart, a group of cult, disgusting people came to Joe, threatening Joe like their security when they
went down nuts.
Okay, and they said lose the tape recorder because they don't want to be on tape. I mean, There are imposters in this scenario. They go in the stores pretending they're security. Meanwhile, they're part of the cult. They wear T-shirts and sloppy outfits. They're not security guards. We need help, okay? Please. We need a legitimate computer. I need my insulin or I'm going to die. We need help. We need people to come forward. Please help us.
Please.
Please.
Please help us. Thank you again.